when you're throwing early nades banana, instead of throwing it over wall like this, or like this, hug this left wall, aim at this when this gap opens up, and middle click throw. This will pop at head height, dealing way more damage, and it'll also slow the quickest T out of spawn. If you're mollying banana instead of nading it, you can do a shallow molly first, like this. So pop behind half wall and burn anybody that's trying to hide there. Then the second guy coming in, if he sticks to the left wall here and aims at this green window, it'll pop right there, burning out all of logs. They can still hide in here, but then if they're trying to swing, the angle will be a lot closer to anybody peeking from stairs. So it's pretty easy to flick and kill them, as opposed to somebody holding here and then having someone swing from logs and having this head glitch. It's better to have the guys on this side. And then of course if you think someone is broom, then you can always nade it like this. For your opera to peek, or just generally as support flashes, maybe as a third person playing B, great pop flashes are at this corner, crouch, and aim right about here, kind of at the end of this antenna. Left click throw. That'll pop right up here on the roof. It won't blind your opera as he's sitting at car, but it'll full white these guys running up. If you want to take banana control, you can stand here next to this ash tray or whatever that is, and aim at this yellow flower and jump throw. If they keep mollying your opera off and you want to get a one-way that'll also cancel the molly, you can stand here at the back of this bench in this corner and aim at the cross of this antenna, left click throw. This will smoke car in such a way that if they're doing this molly all the time, it'll put it out, but your opera can swing on this side of car and he'll be a little tough to see as he's peeking through there. If you're playing in this position and you want to flash off the guys, so maybe that you can cross back to site, or maybe you have someone here that wants to take a peek, just easily pop a flash on the roof here. It'll do minimal blinding to you and none to your teammate, but it'll full blind anybody that's running up. If you want to smoke deep banana, you can do it from Coffins here. Just stand at the back, aim at the center of these 4 cylinders. Jump throw. If you've lost banana control, but you want to retake top banana mid-round, you can have one guy with a smoke and a Molotov get up here, aim at the center of this circle. You can throw a smoke at this electrical support here, left click throw, and then pull out a Molotov and aim at the bottom left of this window. That'll smoke off this choke and also molly car. Just be aware someone sometimes can hide in here if the molly doesn't spread all the way. But then with that up, you can have someone start, well, first be aware that if someone's there, they might swing, so keep your gun out. But for you to swing the top corner, have someone come here behind Coffins, aim at this top left of this notch, and jump throw. That'll pop flash right here, so anybody sitting in this corner or anywhere else, even behind half wall, will get blinded. And then your teammate can swing off that flash. There are versions of this flash where you stand on top of Coffins and aim at this antenna. But according to AleksiB, it's not as good because somebody standing in this corner is able to hear you throw the grenade, and they might be playing anti-flash if they hear it. So throw it from behind Coffins to avoid that. A fun way to retake banana and to potentially deal a lot of damage is you can peek this corner. If nobody's there, you can throw a molly off this white wall. That'll flame out here. And anybody that's playing here, they might be brave and they might sit in this corner because this molly might not spread. But most likely they will they'll fall back to half wall here, and everyone's going to be standing behind this Molotov. And then following up the Molotov, you can sneak up here and just bounce a flat, or a nade, sorry, off of this angled wall. and that'll deal tons of damage to all the guys stacked up here. Just be aware that when you throw that Molotov, have your gun out, because people might swing instead of going back. A good Molotov for deep control is to just stand next to this corner and aim kind of at the center of the bottom of this balcony here. That'll burn out logs and broom. It might not actually burn broom, but it gets pretty good coverage here. Plus, if you have a smoke here, they'll probably back through it. If you want to peek banana, a self flash you can do is get in the corner of the sandbags here, aiming at this wood plank. So after this first board ends, and there's this crease, you aim at the left side of this texture, I guess. Left click throw. That'll pop the flash in an arc like that, and pop flash right over top of half wall, and then you can swing off that. Okay, let's say that the T's have taken top banana control, and you think they're going to push, so you want to do a counter B entrance smoke. One reliable way to do it from CT is to get on this corner, and aim in the middle of these yellow boxes at the height of this half wall. That'll smoke right in the middle and won't leave any gaps. If you're in Newbox, you can do it by roughly lining up these silo edges with this wall back here. And then you just aim at the bottom of this cylinder. And then you're going to jump throw. You just need to make sure that you're not too far right that your smoke is going to hit this wall. What's going to happen is it's going to bounce off the back wall. Then it's going to bounce off this yellow wall and it's going to land here. You can do it from Coffins as well by getting right here. Aiming at the left corner of this yellow box. Jump throw. This one's obviously not as good because you have to expose yourself to the angle and it takes a long time to pop. So do that more as a routine re-smoke instead of holding off a rush. One of the most overpowered positions on B site is first oranges. So what you can do is you can get yourself in this corner. And from here, you can pop flash yourself to peek this angle, or pop flash your teammates by aiming anywhere on this black line, within reason, not too far to the sides, obviously, but like if you aim here, it'll bounce off this angle and do a nice little self pop flash over the top. You don't have to be super precise with it, it works pretty well from anywhere along there. If you want to molly a rush, you can crouch and aim next to this dot. That'll molly that off. You can also smoke from the same place, you just aim a little bit lower here. And then a really OP flash is if you aim at the same spot and do a flashbang instead. That kicks off of here and pops like 1 foot past this wall. So nobody's going to see that coming as they run up. And it has the added benefit of not blinding anybody that is playing to the right hand of sight. So it'll blind Coffin obviously, but anybody over here that's on your team will not get blinded by that flash. Another thing you can do is layer the smoke with a Molotov that's thrown like the flashes towards the right side here. And that'll smoke and molly. And then with that, you can also go back and throw a flash like this. So that'll smoke, molly, and then pop flash the T's. So they'll be blind, full white, like 5-second white, running into a Molotov, and your team will not be blinded by your flash, and you can deal a lot of damage that way. If you find yourself stuck in first oranges when they push and they get all the way up to pool, you can aim at this dark smudge right here at the bottom of this shadow. Left click throw. The flash will get lodged in the cylinders and it'll full white anybody here. It also protects all of you guys back sight, and you guys from CT don't get blinded by that flash either. So it's pretty much flawless. If you're stuck in second oranges and you want to flash, you can aim in between the two cylinders here. That'll wedge the flash in there. I don't like this as much as throwing this one on the roof, because this one will blind your teammates that are on site and even in dark. So this one up on the roof is just kind of safer, although it is a little bit easier to dodge. A pop flash you can do for yourself from Coffin is to crouch here, and you're going to bank it off of the curvature of the fountain. So you're going to aim where this dark bit is that's kind of in line with this curve. Oops. You're going to put your cursor right on the edge of the wood in line with that dark bit, and left click throw. That'll pop up like that. Another thing you can do a couple times per game is get up on the second blue cylinder here, get in this corner, and right click on this latch. That'll put a smoke right there, and this will act as like a semi one-way, so you can get some free shots on the guys that are rushing in, and then once they start shooting at you, you can drop down and you're playing in dark and pillar. If the T's have taken B site and you need to retake it, one way you can smoke off the B entrance here to cut off anybody banana is to stand in this corner. You're going to see these little antennae up here. You're going to aim at this one, which is like the middle of the three longer ones. If you discount this one that's barely showing, it's the middle one. You're going to jump throw. That'll bounce off the roof and the wall, and it'll land perfectly right in the middle, no gaps. From back here at the flowers, you can aim at the center of this curved shadow, take one running step, and then jump throw. That'll pop a flash right in the middle of sight. A good situational flash if the T's have CT smoked like this. You can come up to this tree, aim above head height, walk forward and throw. That'll pop right here, just around the corner. If you want to molly dark, you can get into ruins here in the corner of these sandbags. Look where this rope hits the ceiling, and then you're going to run forward until you hit this, and then jump throw. A few ways to molly Newbox if CT is smoked off in a retake. You can do it by getting into tree here and just aiming anywhere left of this chimney at the height of this roof here, left click. Or you can come here at this corner and just aim at this joint where the antenna hits the roof and then run forward and throw. Throw a molly. That'll burn it out. This can be used as T or CT, but if you get on this bench and you want to stop a plant or a defuse that's on Coffin, you look for this red mark and go to this brick joint that's to the top right of it, and then jump throw. This is a pretty situational one, but it could get you out of a pinch. If you want to retake B site and you know that one is in Coffins, you can smoke off Coffins by getting up here, lining up with this wall. Look at this corner, and then go up until it reaches this green leaf, and then just left click throw. It's a pretty beginner tip, but just so people know, if T's have control of banana, they can hear you running up and down speedway. So if you're rotating in from A and you don't want them to hear you, go around the far side of CT. Or you can use that to your advantage by faking that you're running back. And you can also hear them top banana from here. So if you're the rotate player from B and you just want to stay halfway between both sites, listening in speedway is often a good idea. An alternative mid-smoke you can throw is get in the corner of this bench, look for this white brick, aim at the middle of the top of the dark brick that is above that white brick, and then jump throw. What this will do is it'll create a smoke that goes deeper into mid, so you can run through here, have your teammate pop flashes over, and peek alt mid, and you can also come through on the right here and jump up on this flower planter and have a bit of a one-way here, and it'll be a little tricky for the T's to see you as they run out into mid. If mid is smoked in some manner and you want to nade T-stairs, if there's been an op there or the T's are getting nervous and kind of just congregating around the stairs, you can line up in this corner, aim between the shaft of the rake here and this black dot right in the middle. Then you're going to come across to here when the smoke is still up, obviously. Then you can run forward and release. That'll throw a nade through this gap, right onto the guys sitting T-stairs trying to op, or kind of just sitting around here. If you have someone rushing alt mid, you can have a teammate stand in this corner, aim halfway up this red on this corner, and then jump throw. That'll layer flashes into alt mid. If you want to smoke off alt mid instead, you stand in this corner and look for where this roof meets this roof, and just left click throw. From the same corner, you can pop flash yourself into mid by aiming at this shadow and left click throwing. Another good pop flash for mid is to get here on this corner, and then middle click a throw just to the left of this roof. If the T's keep throwing this molly to stop you from taking apps control, early round you can come around this corner and aim halfway between this ledge and this window. That's the height, and then you aim at this back wall and you running throw from here. That'll pop a smoke there. That'll cancel the molly when it lands up here. If you're playing lane and you want to give yourself a one-way, you can get in this corner here, and this third long brick up, there's a dark spot right here. If you right click on that, the smoke will pop there, and you'll be able to see the T's legs as they come out before they can see you. If you're playing A site and you want to re-smoke bracket, you can get to the back left side of this A sign on site. Anywhere here will work. And then you just aim at the bottom right corner of this star shape and jump throw. If you want to throw some support flashes from pit, you can flash Arch by aiming at this top one here and running throw. That'll pop like that. You can also flash Arch from the barrel by aiming at this roof and just left of the white wall. That'll go just around the corner before it pops, so it's a perfect pop flash for these guys. If you're playing B Apps and you want a Molotov off a rush, if they're just gunning it straight for balcony, if you throw the Molotov at the stairs here with 1:42 left on the clock, that'll plop it right in front of their rush. When you're in apps defending, you can also do a one-way here by looking at this tile and then looking at this notch here, but at the height of halfway up this section of railing, so over here, you're going to aim just at the edge of this white face of the pillar, and you're going to left click throw. That'll get the smoke stuck on that ledge, and you'll see all their legs as they run through, but they can't see anything long haul. Another situational thing you can do, it's kind of gimmicky, but you can get in this door here in the corner, aim at the center of this this lighter colored section of boards, and left click throw. That'll drop a molly behind the door, which is actually a fake molly, so you don't get damaged by it. But for the T's, it looks like there's a Molotov there. So you can throw that, wait a couple of seconds, they might decide, oh, nobody's going to peek through there, they might turn around, and then you can just swing from here and maybe catch someone with their pants down. If you're playing pit, you can get a one-way by getting up in this corner, aiming at this notch right here, and right-click throwing. That'll give a gap here. Then you can crouch and you can slide up on this ramped brick a little bit and get a good line of sight here. If the T's have taken sight and you want to retake, you can smoke Longhall by getting to the left side of this white window, aiming at the bottom corner of this first tile that sticks out the farthest, and just left click throw. From the same position, you can also Molotov the dark corner of sight, aim same spot with a Molotov, but jump throw. And that should spread into the back corner there. If you want to exit library, but you think there's an op holding from over here, or anybody on site, you can self-flash yourself out by getting in the corner of this bookshelf and then aiming in line with this leg on this coffee table and the corner of this armchair. Like so. Left click throw. That'll pop a flash out the door, perfectly in line with where the op would be looking. Moving on to T side, if you're rushing alt mid and you want to do the boiler molly, just aim where the wall meets the floor and running jump throw as soon as you cross this shadow. You can smoke arch by getting in the corner here of the bridge in the lattice, and then aiming where the middle pillar of the gazebo meets the roof in the background. Jump throw. You can also smoke arch from up here in this corner. Look for this green shutter and aim at this notch on the gutter just above that. Left click throw. Another arch smoke from alt mid is at this broom. You aim at the peak of this roof and left click throw. And you can also smoke arch from mid by getting in the corner of this bench, aiming at the top of this flag, and then running when your crosshair meets here, and then jump throw. If you want to smoke Moto, you can line up here on this yellow corner, and then aim just to the left of this planter, left click throw. You can also smoke from Mexico at this corner. Aim right here, jump throw. You can do it from this corner. Aim at the corner of this gusset and jump throw. You can also smoke Moto from short up here at the red shutters. Go in the center. Aim just off the left of this chimney. Once you have sight, you can re-smoke Moto by getting in this corner and aiming at the lamp and jump throwing. You can also do it from mini pit by getting in this corner, crouching, looking at this notch, and then standing and throwing. You can also do it from next to Ninja on site by going here and aiming for this spot next to the shutters where the paint is missing. Left click. If you want to smoke just library from short, you can get in this corner. Look for this drippy stuff off of this star-shaped thing. Look for this curved brick and aim just to the right of that, and then jump throw. If your team wants to rush up arch early round, you can get in this corner, aim at the top left of this window, jump throw. This will smoke short for you. Once you get up here, if you decide that you want to go split B instead, you can go on this corner. To smoke off deep arch, you just aim left here, jump throw. If you want to smoke short from alt mid, get in the center of this lattice and aim in between the tops of these red shutters. Left click throw. If you want to smoke off this angle from pit, you can do it from alt mid. Get at the corner of this lattice. Aim at the height of this antenna and in line with the center of these green shutters. Left click throw. That'll pop right there so nobody from pit can see you, and also this cheeky angle from behind the hay wagon is also blocked off. They can see you for a moment as you cross onto site though, so be aware of that. A good pop flash for lane is to have your teammate look at the wall here, ready to peek, jump out of pit just onto the edge here, left click throw at the corner of the roof. That'll pop just around the corner, so anybody holding this angle, even pretty tight, will get pop flashed. Not exactly a pop flash, but another good flash to know is to get into the corner of the bench here, aim at the roof line in the center of this white plane on the wall, step forward and throw. That'll pop the flash into the vision of anybody holding from lane here. If you're the apps player, one thing to look out for is if the CTs molly this early round. They sometimes expect you to back up into this corner, and then they have a spam for it. So don't stand exactly in that corner if you're ever mollied off here. Just generally don't stand in that corner. Stand forward a little bit if you're not mollied, and then stand back here if you are mollied. If you want to do that wall spam, you just line up here and aim at the left side of the door. When you're working apps, I find best results by just dry peeking this angle at like a random time. But if you want to flash the guy off, you can bounce a flash here. When you're working and clearing apps, sometimes a guy likes to sit in this corner, or they like to camp out on this railing up here, holding this angle. So you can spam both of those spots. If you look through this door, you see this couch in here. If you imagine that someone was standing on the couch, so aim right in the middle of that and here. That's where this corner is. And then if you want to get the guy that's posted up on top here, you aim like right in the middle of these couch cushions, but higher. That would get this angle. Really good pop flash from apps is to crouch right here and aim at the center of mass on this lighter shade of this chimney. Left click throw. That'll pop past the gutter if you do it high enough, and then it'll blind anybody in pit and even some people on site. The apps lurk smoke is done by going in the center of this white door, aiming at this light brick where it meets this dark one. Left click throw. That'll land on the hay wagon, giving you a half smoke over here. So nobody from site can see you, but you can clear all these angles on balcony without getting your head in the smoke. And you can also jump up on here and get a good angle on site, which is kind of a one-way. In addition to that, if you're crouching here when the smoke is up, you can aim at the bottom row of this this roof and just try to eyeball it right in the middle because that pillar is there. And then you can left-click throw a Molotov. And that'll molly out dark. So with that and this smoke up, you can sneak out here, clear balcony, and then the guy from pit, he might have relocated to here, so look for that. And then you can jump down and clear the guy under. If you want to molly out the guy under instead, get into this left corner when the smoke is up, preferably. And look for this lighter patch of boards and aim at the kind of like left side in the middle on the line, and then left click throw. That'll drop a molly straight down onto that guy's head. If you want to smoke hay wagon from Mexico instead, you can go on the front here, aim in the center of this gutter at the bottom of this keystone on this arch, and then just jump throw. A very strong flash that you should be throwing when you're pushing up lane is this one. That pops in pit, blinding pretty much every angle. Very strong. And bonus is that it drops below the balcony here, so if you got teammates coming out of apps, it doesn't full blind them because the balcony's covering the edge. If you don't have anybody coming out of apps, a more powerful flash is the same angle, but you just aim at these wires instead of at the top of the tree. That'll pop a little bit higher, and someone playing in the back of pit will get blinded as well. Alright, this is a really tricky Molotov, but if you get on the left and jump up here just a hair, you can aim at the gutter and halfway up these railings. Then you're going to run until just before you hit this wall here, and then jump throw. What that does is it hits this sliver and then bounces down here and mollies quad. If you want to molly mini pit from short, you get into this bench and the wall corner, and then you look on this pillar. There's kind of some darker spots. You want to go to this mortar joint underneath this top dark spot, put your crosshair right there, and then you want to jump throw. And then of course pit can just be mollied like this. If you want to molly pit from short without exposing yourself to the pit angle, you can get in this corner. You're still safe here. And what you're going to do is you're going to be bouncing the Molotov off this surface. Now it's nearly pixel perfect, so do some practice for sure. But you're going to aim at the height of this electrical wire. And then you're going to aim in the center of that surface there. Once it's centered, if you throw now, it's going to land on top of the pillar. So what you have to do, you have to go like 1 pixel left and then throw. If you go too far left when you're trying to do this, it's going to bounce off this corner and just molly your whole team and stop your rush. To Popflash yourself Arch, you can get on the corner of this red side here and aim where these wires meet the roof. Aim right around here, middle click. That'll pop just in the line of sight of this guy. And to Popflash yourself lane, get on the yellow wall. You're going to aim up at the top of the green shutter and where the railing meets. Middle click. And that'll pop just around the corner of where this guy will be holding. If you want to smoke bracket from T-spawn, you can get in the corner here. Aim above this notch, about evenly spaced from this. This will help you take mid control. If you want to rush B quickly and you want to smoke CT from T-spawn, you can get in the corner of this barrel, aim in this dip to the left of the chimneys. You're going to walk forward and jump throw when your cursor hits the flower pot. If you want to do it even quicker with a little bit of touch, you can, instead of walking, you can run forward, but you have to release like as soon as you get full momentum. Or half momentum, I guess. If you run too far, it'll miss. As the first person rushing out of spawn towards B, it's often that you have the role of having some pretty important utility. One of the most important ones, I mean there's many different ways to do it, but one of them is to do half wall smoke. So you're going to run up and you're going to pop a smoke right off the corner here. What that's going to do is he's going to leave a gap here for you to strafe around the wall, but that smoke will put out any mollies that the CTs try to throw right here. A different util set you can do is molly over half wall. So you come around this corner and you aim at the bottom of this kind of building support where it overhangs over top of half wall. Then you're going to run forward and throw. That'll Molotov right here, stopping the CTs, and then you can do a flash over like this, which will pop out there and blind them. So they have to deal with blindness and the fire, and then you guys can run up here. If you're running up banana and you're not the first spawn, or it's not the very beginning of round, don't throw this one that bounces over top and lands here, because then someone can be swung all the way here, peeking down banana, and not be in the molly. So in that case, you would just bounce one off of here, where it'll burn the whole corner, instead of to the right here. One thing to look out for when you're throwing this Molotov is that this wall here is curved, so if you run into the wall, right as you're about to throw it, it's going to bump you to the side. So make sure that you're wide enough that you can swing and not hit this before you release. If you're bottom banana and you want to support flash your teammate over half wall, you get next to this gutter and you aim at the bottom of this support and just left click. That'll pop a flash right over it. If you just threw the CT smoke from back here in spawn, you can also layer flashes by going up to this railing, aiming at the top left of this window, and jump throwing. Those are good to layer to help your team push up banana. Then you can also makeshift some flashes up like this or something, which will pop above and behind your team as they push up. So CT is probably the most important angle to smoke off when attacking B. So there's many ways to throw it from different positions, one being from the T-spawn like you already saw. You can also do it from up next to this half wall. You aim at the corner of this, where the invisible line intersects with this wire, so right here, left click throw. You can also do it from here, left side of this chimney and that same corner, left click throw. You can also do it from logs. You just aim at the intersection between the tallest leaf and the farthest right leaf. Left click throw. You can also do it from back here, though I don't prefer this one, and I'll show you why. You aim at the bottom right of this hinge, jump throw. This one's not as good because it's a little bit deeper in, and CTs, if they're being tricky, they can kind of come in here and still be able to see you and maybe get an op shot off. So throw the other ones because they come here deeper and they blind this guy. For smoking Coffin, you can get up on the logs here and you'll get kind of stuck in this little notch. You're going to look for this fence and there's these balls on top, and you're going to make an invisible intersection between the two and then left click throw. This is a perfect Coffin smoke because there's no gap here, and also a guy cannot play on the corner of Coffin here with an op because he'll be blinded. There is also a running Coffin smoke you can do on a rush, but it's pretty tricky, so do some practice on it. You're going to be aiming for this gap in the leaves right here where it starts, and what you have to do is you have to run and strafe into here, and then right before you hit this wall, you're going to release throw. Like so. If you want to molly sandbags when you're running up, just bounce it off the upper right corner here. That'll make it get deep enough to burn out the guy in the corner too. On a rush, some layered flashes you can do are from logs. You can aim at the where these two barrels meet, jump throw. That'll pop right here. But just be aware, if your team is already around this corner, it can blind them. So throw that first, and then after that one, you can get in between the shutters here and aim at the point of this. This one will be deeper in sight, and it won't blind your teammates until they get all the way out to pool. But between those two spots, you'll blind pretty much every single part on the site. A good situational flash is when you come around this corner. Of course, if you know that nobody's going to be shooting you with your nade out, you can bank a flash off of here. And it'll pop in CT, and it won't blind your teammates as they run up, but it'll do some extra blinding on everybody's site and CT. When you have CT and Coffins already smoked, 3 places that you should molly are quad, which is in this corner here, and on this notch, which is the first one after the roof ends, jump throw. That'll burn out Newbox. From this corner, you're going to aim at the shoulder of this tile, the right shoulder of it. And the way I remember that is that it's roughly in the center of these 2 balls here. You're going to jump throw. That's going to pop on top of the double boost here. So anybody playing on top of that will get burned out. Anybody playing first oranges or second oranges will be burned out. And when that's on and this one's on, there's nowhere to stand in this entire area here. The third molly, get in the corner of half wall here, and you're going to aim at this grout line on the brick where it meets the yellow. There's many of them. Not the one that's about halfway up, but the one below that. And then you're going to jump throw. That's going to launch straight into dark. When you're pushing into sight on a rush and you want to molly Newbox, you get against this back wall, and as long as you're aiming at this chimney around there, left click throw, and it'll go into Newbox. If you want to have both CT and boost smoked, you can get in the corner of Sandbags here, crouch. You're going to aim at the top of this piece of scaffolding and in line with the center of this flower pot. If the flower pot's gone, just aim slightly left of this wall so the nade doesn't hit. That'll get wedged up there, and then nobody's seeing through that. If there's a nuisance opper on Coffin that's just picking you off every single round because you don't know a Coffin smoke, you can practice this nade instead. You stand on logs, you slide out into the end of this pointy rock, then you grab the nade, and on this wall there's this light patch just to the left of these bricks. You're going to run forward until you get max velocity and then jump throw. That's going to pop a nade right in the face of the opper sitting right here and do a lot of damage. If you want to re-smoke CT from dark without exposing yourself, you can get into this corner and make the intersection with this and the top of the fountain, and then run and throw. You can also smoke off from Newbox, get in line with this tile grout line, and just aim at the top middle of the twisted strap. Left click. In a post plant, you can also re-smoke CT from first oranges by aiming right here and walk throwing forward. Pretty situational nade, but if you're way in T Apps next to this bookshelf, line up right here, running jump throw as you cross through this first doorway. This is a smoke for CT. And it can be used either as a fake for B, or for instance, I lurk apps a lot, and often my team has Top Banana and they're ready to execute, and I'm running back here anyway. So what I can do is I can offer to throw the CT smoke and let them keep their smoke to smoke something else over there. If the CTs have been getting aggressive in Longhall and you want to stop them from pushing down so often, you can come here on bridge and wallbang them. Commonly you see people standing or crouching here and shooting through the wall. But what that does is it puts the bullets here on the right hand side of the hall, so it only hits the CTs if they're walking across like this spot of the hall. Because like no one really stands right here or right here in the middle. So what you want to do instead is come onto the bridge, jump up on this wall, and get in line like as far over here as you can, and then aim at the right side of this this wall that you can see sticking out here. What that does is it sends the bullets through closer to the middle, where it's more realistic that guys will be standing. If they've kind of wide swung a little bit and are holding wide, it won't get them if they're right here, but if they're jiggle peeking wide, it might hit them. And also if they're walking up, they'll be in the plane of these bullets for much longer. Also, if someone is lodged in this corner watching this peak here, these will go right through their body. So that's a better wallbang. If you're ever in a clutch situation and you're on the B bomb site and you think the guy might be behind second oranges, if you come into this corner in here and you aim at this gap, they'll use the glitched hitbox and it'll pop up showing you that there's an enemy there, and you can just kill him through the wall.